The pizza that changed everything. The rain was heavy that night. Water poured from the sky like it was trying to wash the whole city away. The streets were quiet, the kind of silence that makes your own footsteps sound too loud. Inside a small apartment on the edge of downtown, a young man named Ray waited for his late-night pizza. He was tired. Another boring day at his tech support job. Another day with no visitors, no messages, no excitement. Just cold coffee, flickering screens, and a growling stomach. The doorbell rang. Ray stood up, rubbing his eyes, and walked toward the door. Finally, he muttered. Hope it's still hot. He opened the door and froze. It wasn't a normal delivery person. She wasn't even fully human. Standing there, drenched from the rain, was a young alien woman. She was tall, thin, with soft lavender, skin that shimmered under the porch light. Her glowing silver eyes blinked slowly, and her white hair stuck to her cheeks like wet silk. She held a pizza box in both hands, shaking. Her delivery uniform was torn on the side. One shoe was missing. Her lips trembled as she spoke. "I'm sorry. I got delayed," she said in a soft, trembling voice. Ray didn't know what to say. Was this a prank? Some weird alien cosplay? But then he noticed her shivering. Her arms had tiny cuts. Her lips were slightly blue. And those eyes, they weren't fake. She looked real and afraid. He reached for the box. She didn't move. "Are you okay?" he asked. She hesitated, then nodded. "Yes. No, not really." Ray raised an eyebrow. "Do you want to come in for a bit? You look like you've been walking in that storm for hours." She looked around the street, then back at him. Her lips parted, and for a second, she didn't answer. Then she whispered, "I have nowhere to go." Ray stepped aside. She entered, slowly, like she was afraid the warm room might disappear if she moved too fast. He offered her a towel. She wiped her face but didn't speak much, just sat on the edge of the couch, hands on her lap, still holding the now wet pizza box. Ray grabbed a blanket and passed it to her. "Look, I don't know what's going on, but you don't look like you should be out in this weather. Do you need help? Police? Medical?" She shook her head quickly. "No police, please. I'll leave soon. I needed somewhere safe. Just for a little while." He sat across from her. "Are you running from something?" She looked up. Her eyes flickered, like a memory flashed behind them. "I made a mistake. I delivered something I wasn't supposed to. Now they're after me. My company fired me. My housing unit locked me out. I've been walking for hours." Ray blinked. "You're telling me the pizza company kicked you out because of a wrong delivery?" She smiled faintly. "It wasn't just a pizza." Ray leaned back, thinking. This was insane, but she looked sincere and exhausted. "What's your name?" he asked. She hesitated, then answered, "Vela." "All right, Vela," Ray said, trying to sound calm. "You can stay here tonight. Just one night. Tomorrow we figure things out." Her shoulders dropped like a heavy weight just slipped off. "Thank you." A sudden flash of light from outside caught Ray's eye. A black car slowly passed by the window, moving too slowly, almost like it was watching. He got up and pulled the curtain shut. Vela looked at him, her voice now serious. "If they find me here, they might come for you too." Ray gave a short laugh. "Well, too late now. I already let the mysterious alien pizza girl into my home." She blinked, surprised he could joke. Ray sat back down. "Eat something. Rest. We'll figure the rest out in the morning." She nodded and opened the box. The pizza was ruined, soaked and cold. But in the center, hidden under the slices, was a small metal object, glowing faint blue. Ray stared at it. "That's not cheese." Vela looked at him and didn't deny. "And the stranger in my apartment," Ray couldn't sleep. Not because of the storm outside or the weird glow coming from the living room, but because there was an alien girl asleep on his couch. A real alien. In his apartment, wrapped in one of his blankets. He paced the hallway, rubbing his forehead. What the hell am I doing? He muttered. This isn't some sci-fi movie. This is real. This is nuts. He peeked into the living room again. Vela was still there, sleeping quietly. She had curled up like a child, her silver eyes shut tight, her white hair spread across the pillow. The glow from her skin had dimmed, like she was charging down. But the metal object, the one she hid under the pizza, was still glowing, faint but steady. He had placed it on the table, and every time he looked at it, he felt strange, like it was watching him, or whispering to him. He shook his head and grabbed a glass of water. Suddenly, Vela sat up. Fast. Ray jumped and spilled the water on the floor. Whoa, you okay? She blinked rapidly, breathing fast. They're near. Ray frowned. What? Do you mean? Who? She stood up barefoot, scanning the window. I sense them. They're searching for me. They can trace energy spikes, and especially from the artifact. Ray looked at the glowing device. That thing? She nodded. It's not from this planet. It's a memory core. I was supposed to deliver it to someone off-grid. Instead, I opened it. Why? Vela stared at the object. Her voice turned soft. Because I thought it could help me understand who I really am. Ray sat down slowly. You don't know who you are? I was born in a facility, raised by machines. I worked for the courier syndicate since I was 12 human years old. I never had a home. I never had a name, until I gave one to myself. Ray was silent for a moment, then asked, Why Vela? She smiled faintly. It was the name of a star I used to look at from the cargo ship windows. Ray scratched his head. This is crazy. You're telling me this memory thing holds... What? Clues about your origin? Vela nodded. And more. It holds forbidden history. Things the Galactic Syndicate doesn't want anyone to know. That's why they want it back, and why they want me erased. Ray stood up. Okay, but you're not alone anymore. They'll have to get through me first. Vela looked at him, shocked. You barely know me. Why are you helping? Ray shrugged. I've been alone for too long. You showed up at my door with cold pizza and a broken heart. That's enough. Vela smiled, her first real smile. You're different. Suddenly, on a loud knock on the door, Ray and Vela froze. Another knock. Harder this time. Ray stepped forward, but Vela grabbed his arm. Don't open it. A deep, robotic voice spoke from outside. We are authorized delivery enforcement. Step aside, citizen. You have an unauthorized courier unit inside. Ray's heart pounded. They tracked you. Vela stepped back. Her eyes glowing again. Give me the artifact. Ray handed it to her. What are you going to do? I'm going to make sure they forget I was ever here. She pressed her thumb into the device. It pulsed, then vanished. Disappeared in her palm like dust. Ray gasped. Where did it go? I stored it inside me, she said calmly. It's part of me now. Another knock, then a crash. The door cracked. They were breaking in. Ray grabbed his baseball bat. Back door? She nodded. Let's go. They ran out the back into the dark alley, into the storm. As they disappeared into the night, the front door burst open, and 2 armored bounty agents stepped in, scanning, searching. But it was too late. Vela and Ray were gone. The girl with a planet in her chest. They ran. Rain crashed down like falling bullets. Ray's shoes slipped on the wet pavement. Vela moved fast, her steps almost silent, like she was made for escape. They cut through back alleys, jumped fences, ducked under broken billboards, and didn't stop until they reached the edge of the city. Ray bent over, gasping for breath. You run like a machine. I was trained to, she said calmly, scanning the skyline. Her eyes glowed, faint blue in the dark. We're not safe yet. They stood behind an old factory. Broken glass windows, crumbling walls, a perfect place for someone to disappear. Ray looked around. This place is abandoned. No one's going to find us here. Vela didn't answer. She just touched the center of her chest, right over her heart. And then something happened. Her skin flickered. Not like light, like space. Stars. Tiny, glowing constellations. Moving inside her. Ray stared. What is that? She looked at him, serious now. I told you the memory core bonded with me. It's not just stored inside. It became part of me. Ray stepped back. You're saying there's a planet inside you? Vela shook her head. No, not a planet. A map. A living archive. It shows things. Forbidden things. I don't understand all of it yet. But the moment I touched it, I saw flashes. A burning city. A sky full of machines. A child screaming from inside a cold glass chamber. Ray swallowed hard. That child was you, wasn't it? She nodded. I think so. The wind howled through the broken walls. Far in the distance, a low humming sound echoed. Not thunder. A drone. Vela tensed. They're searching from above. Ray pointed toward the building. Come on, we can hide inside. They slipped through a shattered side door. Inside, it smelled of rust and wet stone. The factory had once made machine parts. Now it was a graveyard of metal and shadows. Ray found an old locker room. They sat on the floor behind some lockers, hidden from the drone lights passing outside. Ray looked at her again, at her glowing chest. It was fading now, but he couldn't forget what he saw. He whispered, What do they want with it? What's in that map? She stared at her hands. Power. The Syndicate rules hundreds of systems. But this memory core, it holds secrets they erased from history. It shows other worlds, forgotten races. Proof that the Syndicate wasn't the first. Proof that they stole everything. Ray leaned back against the cold wall. So you're carrying evidence that could break their empire? Vela met his eyes. Or get me killed. There was silence. Then Ray chuckled softly. You know, this morning I was worried about my rent. Now I'm hiding from space cops with a glowing alien girl who has ancient star maps in her chest. She smiled faintly. Do you regret letting me in? Ray didn't even hesitate. No, I think I was waiting for something like this. For someone like you. She looked away quickly, but not before he saw the shimmer in her eyes. Just then, a faint beep echoed inside the room. Ray jumped. What was that? Vela stood slowly. Her skin glowed again like moonlight through water. The core, it's reacting. There's something nearby. Ray grabbed a metal pipe from the floor just in case. Something what? She walked toward the far wall, touching the cracked concrete. There's a panel here, something buried behind this. She pressed her hand to the wall. The concrete shifted, cracked, and then part of the wall opened like a hidden door. Behind it was a sealed pod, round, smooth, metallic, with the same glowing symbols as the artifact. Ray blinked. Is that a ship? No, Vela said, breathless. That's a beacon. She stepped closer. It was left for someone like me, a backup plan, a call for help. Suddenly the pod lit up. A voice echoed, not in English, not in any human tongue. But Ray felt it, like a whisper in his bones. Vela gasped. It knows me. Ray looked at her. What does it mean? She turned, eyes wide. It means I'm not just a courier, Ray. I'm the last survivor of a lost planet. And now, it wants me to go back. The hidden beacon's message. The pod pulsed like a heartbeat. Soft blue light glowed from its seams, and ancient alien symbols shimmered across the surface like stars in motion. The factory around them felt colder now. Quieter, like time had slowed down. Ray stood back, gripping the pipe tighter. It's alive. Vela stepped closer, her eyes locked onto the beacon. No. It's remembering. She placed both hands on the pod. The lights grew brighter. A soft hum filled the room, like a chorus of voices buried deep under centuries of silence. Then it happened. The pod opened. Not with a hiss, not with steam, but with light. A single orb of energy floated out, no bigger than a child's fist. It hovered in front of Vela's face, scanning her. She didn't move. "Ray," whispered, "should we run?" She shook her head. This is what it was waiting for. The orb blinked. Once. Twice. Then suddenly a hologram appeared in the air, massive, glowing, breathtaking. It showed a planet, not Earth, purple skies, golden oceans, towers that rose like glass mountains. Ray gasped. "Is that your homeworld?" Vela stared, tears in her glowing eyes. It was. The vision shifted. Fire, war, machines raining down from the sky. Giant syndicate ships swallowing the towers, people running, children crying, a woman holding a baby, placing it in a pod just like this one, and launching it into space. Ray turned to her slowly. "That baby?" Vela nodded. "Me." The Yaitu orb spoke, this time in English. A soft, genderless voice. "Survivor, your return is requested. The last memory of your kind lives within you. Come to the coordinates marked in your core. Do not delay. Time is collapsing." Then the orb dimmed and fell to the floor like a dead star. Silence. Ray looked at Vela. What did it mean by time is collapsing? She wiped her eyes. "There's a wormhole window, a rare one. It opens for 1 week every cycle. If I miss it, I may never reach my people's grave, never learn what they left for me." Ray stepped forward. "You want to go?" "I have, too." She turned to him. "But I'm scared. If I go, they'll come after me harder than ever. And if I leave now, I leave you behind." Ray didn't speak. For a long time, he just looked at her. This strange, strong girl who crashed into his boring life like a falling star. Then he said, "What if I don't want you to go alone?" Vela blinked. "You'd come? You let me into your world the second you stepped into mine. And I don't care if it's dangerous. I'm not letting you face the end of your people alone." Vela smiled. A real, bright smile, the kind no one had ever seen on her face before. But before she could speak, the factory shook. A deep boom rattled the walls. Lights flickered, the windows cracked further. Ray grabbed her hand. "What now?" Vela's eyes flared. "They found the beacon. They'll destroy it, and us." Another explosion hit. Closer. Vela ran to the beacon pod. She pressed the final sequence. A small chip ejected from its side, metallic, sharp, glowing with the same blue fire as her eyes. "This is the map. The real one," she said, slipping it inside a slit on her arm. Ray stared. "You put tech inside your body?" She smiled. Courier life wasn't always pizza. Another boom, now inside the building. Footsteps echoed, voices robotic and angry. Ray turned to her. "We need to leave now," but Vela hesitated. "The beacon, it has a self-destruct. If I activate it, they can't trace us. But it'll destroy the memory too." Ray stepped closer. "Then what's more important? Saving the past or protecting the future?" She looked into his eyes, then nodded. Vela reached toward the beacon, whispered a word in a forgotten tongue, and the light inside the pod began to collapse inward, like a star eating itself. Together they ran through the back tunnel, hand in hand, just as the beacon exploded behind them. The blast lit the sky for miles, but they didn't look back, because now they had a destination, and for the first time, they were no longer running. They were heading toward something greater. Through the wormhole and into the fire, the shuttle shook like it was about to fall apart. Ray gripped the seat harness until his knuckles went white. "Are you sure this rust bucket can make it through a wormhole?" Vela didn't answer it. First. She stood at the controls, calm but focused, her silver eyes reflecting the storm of stars outside the cracked windshield. "It's not the shuttle," she said. "It's me they're tracking. Once we enter the wormhole, all signals will be lost." Ray looked out the side window. The sky looked torn open, a spinning, endless swirl of dark light and burning energy. The wormhole floated in space like a giant open mouth. "And if we don't make it in time?" he asked. Vela answered quietly. "It seals for another 70 years, and I'll never get the answers buried on that world." Ray sighed. No pressure. Then, the shuttle's engine screamed as Vela pushed the throttle. Stars stretched, space bent, time itself rippled like fabric in a storm, and then everything went black. For a moment, there was nothing. No sound, no feeling, no ship. Ray opened his eyes. He was floating, alone, inside a tunnel of shifting galaxies. Colors he didn't know the names of danced around him. He could feel Vela, but he couldn't see her. Then a voice spoke. Not hers, not human. "Who are you to follow her? You are not of her kind." Ray spun around. No body, no face. Just the question. "I'm someone who chose her," he said firmly. "That's enough." Silence. Then, "That is rare." And just like that, light exploded around him. The ship jolted back into reality. Vela gasped and slammed a button on the dashboard. "Stabilizer's failing! Ray, hold on!" He did, barely, as the shuttle tumbled out of the wormhole and shot into a quiet corner of space. They were somewhere else. In front of them hung a dark, massive planet. No city lights, no signal beacons, just black mountains, gray mist, and shattered moons in orbit. Ray frowned. "That's your home?" Vela nodded slowly. "Or what's left of it." They entered the atmosphere. Smoke covered the skies. Old ships drifted like ghosts. The surface was cracked and dead like a scarred battlefield. But in the middle of it all, one signal blinked, faint, old, still alive. "That's the vault," Vela whispered. "The last place untouched by the Syndicate. The place my people protected." Ray leaned closer. "And what's inside?" Her eyes locked on the blinking dot. "Truth." The shuttle landed on a rocky cliff. Below them, a massive steel door was buried into the side of a canyon wall. Around it were bones. Real bones. Not just human. Giant alien skeletons, twisted machines, long dead guards turned to dust. Ray shivered. They fought to protect this and lost. Vela stepped out, calm as stone. "They didn't lose. They delayed the end, just long enough for me to come back." As she approached the door, the ground lit up, ancient symbols glowing beneath her feet. The door spoke. "Blood accepted, final heir detected, welcome home." Ray's jaw dropped. "Wait, you're the heir?" Vela stepped forward as the door cracked open, revealing a deep, glowing chamber. "I wasn't just any child, Ray. I was born of the ruling line. The reason they hid me was because I carried what no one else could." Inside, the chamber was full of floating memory stones, ancient recordings, genetic archives, and one glowing pedestal at the center. Vela approached the pedestal and placed her hand on it. A projection appeared. A woman with the same white hair, same glowing eyes. Vela whispered, "Mother." The woman's recording spoke. "If you see this, my daughter, you have survived the burning of our skies. Inside you lies not just our history, but the last code to awaken the Ark." Ray's heart raced. "Ark? Like a spaceship?" Vela nodded. "A world ship, big enough to carry our people, our culture, our memory, everything. But where is it?" The pedestal pulsed. "Buried under the old city, protected by the codes in your blood. But beware, the Syndicate will never let it rise." Suddenly, an alarm blared. Ray spun around. "What now?" Vela turned pale. They followed us, even through the wormhole. Outside the vault, black ships appeared in the sky. Dozens of them, syndicate hunters. Ray looked at her. Can we fight? Vela's voice was steady. No. We rise. She slammed her hand on the vault wall, and somewhere deep underground, something massive began to awaken. Metal shifted. Earth cracked. Engines whispered after centuries of silence. The Ark was moving. The last flight of the Ark, the ground shook, not like thunder, not like explosions. No, this was something older, deeper, the kind of rumble that came from buried giants waking up after centuries of sleep. Ray nearly fell as the entire canyon cracked open beneath them. The vault split apart, massive stone, slabs rising like ancient jaws revealing a smooth, circular platform hidden beneath. In the middle of it, something impossible began to rise. A ship. No, not just a ship. A world. The Ark. It didn't look like human tech. It wasn't sleek. It wasn't shiny. It was alive. A city-sized dark silver structure covered in glowing roots of energy and ancient alien runes. It floated up from the earth like it remembered how to fly. Ray stepped back, breath stolen, from his chest. That's not a ship. That's a floating empire. Vela stood tall beside him. Wind blew her white hair around her face as the Ark responded to her presence, opening wide gates in its lower levels like it was welcoming her home. The last of my kind built this, she said quietly. Not to run, not to hide, but to carry memory through time. Ray pointed upward. We've got no time for speeches. They're here. Above, the sky had turned black with syndicate dropships, hundreds, maybe more, each one aimed at the Ark like it was prey. They're afraid of it, Vela whispered. That's why they never destroyed this place. They couldn't risk waking it. Lasers fired. A syndicate command ship sent down a plasma barrage. Fire rained over the cliffs. The vault behind them exploded into ash. Ray ducked behind a boulder. Any actual weapons on that thing? Vela's eyes began to glow brighter, brighter than ever before. Her veins lit up with blue light. Her voice was no longer soft. I am the weapon. She raised both hands, and the Ark responded. Energy surged from the ship's core, shooting into the sky like a pillar of light. It struck one of the syndicate cruisers and shattered it in half. Ray gaped. You're synced to it? She didn't answer. She didn't need to. She was flying, not her body, but her mind, linked with the Ark, guiding it with her thoughts. The Ark's shields flared, plasma deflected, enemy ships exploded, syndicate soldiers screamed orders into radios. They had come to erase history. Instead, they woke a goddess. Ray ran into the lower bay as Vela hovered above the control spire. The ship began lifting higher, away from the canyon, away from the planet, into orbit. But it wasn't over. A massive dreadnought appeared from hyperspace, black and sharp like a floating dagger. Syndicate's flagship. Ray cursed. They sent that thing? The dreadnought launched a graviton anchor, a glowing red chain of energy, and latched onto the Ark. Engines screamed. Systems stalled. The Ark was caught. Vela clenched her fists in midair. They're trying to ground me, trying to rip me apart. Ray jumped into the control room. Then don't fight it alone. He pressed his hand onto the console. Nothing happened. Then a light blinked. Secondary user accepted. Link initiated. Ray gasped as a rush of stars, symbols, and ancient voices flooded into his mind. His body glowed, not blue like hers, but gold. Vela turned to him, stunned. You shouldn't be able to, Ray smirked. Maybe your Ark likes pizza guys. Together they focused. The energy inside the Ark responded to both their pulses now, one from the blood of the past, one from the heart of the present. They sent a counterpulse through the graviton chain. Boom! The anchor exploded. The dreadnought reeled, then fired its main cannon. Vela screamed. We can't dodge that. Ray stared at the targeting data. Then we block it. He reached into the Ark's systems, found the backup shields, and rerouted everything, and including their life support. Ray, that'll kill us. No, he said. It'll save what you carry. The beam fired. The Ark's shield flared gold and blue, then shattered. Silence. Smoke. Then light. The Ark had survived. Barely. Systems flickered. Hulls were scorched, but it flew. Vela floated back down, falling into Ray's arms. She was shaking, her glow dim. You saved me, she whispered. He held her tight. No, we saved something bigger. They looked at the stars ahead, wide, open, endless. A new future. Not for humans, not for aliens, for both. The Pizza Boy and the galactic queen stars stretched across the window like a river of light. The Ark drifted through deep space now, silent, scarred, but alive. Behind it, the broken syndicate fleet scattered like ash in a solar wind. For the first time in centuries, Bela's people had a future, and she wasn't alone anymore. Ray sat beside her on the command bridge, legs crossed, eating something that looked like a glowing blue apple. It tasted like soda and lemons. He chewed, watching her as she stared out the glass. You've been quiet. I'm thinking, she said softly. About what comes next? Ray tilted his head. You mean rebuilding your empire? Vela shook her head slowly. No, that's what they'd expect. The syndicate, the old powers. They'd want me to rise like a queen and restart the war. Ray leaned back. So, not your style? She looked at him. I was never meant to rule with fear. I don't want to wear a crown made of ashes. Ray smiled. Then what do you want? Vela hesitated. For the first time, she seemed unsure. I don't know. I spent so long running, surviving. I never imagined what peace would feel like. Ray stood and walked to the window. I'm no alien. I can't help you build space cities or restart dying bloodlines, but I can help you figure it out, one step at a time. She turned to him, her expression unreadable. You've given me more than help, Ray. You gave me a reason to believe in kindness again. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through the room. The ship had picked up a transmission. Ray frowned. More syndicate? Vela moved to the console and tapped it. A voice came through, crackly, tired, but alive. To any survivors of the Vela line, if you hear this, you're not alone. Ray's eyes widened. Wait, someone else made it? Vela stared at the screen. Coordinates appeared, far across a quiet solar system. I thought I was the last. Ray put a hand on her shoulder. Maybe you were never meant to be alone, not in the fight, not after it. Vela stood tall. Then we go. The Ark adjusted course, sailing into the darkness toward that flicker of hope. Later that night, Ray stood on one of the Ark's balcony decks, watching the stars roll by. Vela joined him, a soft robe wrapped around her. Her glow had softened, now not the blue of fear or fight, but of calm. You're different, she said. Ray raised an eyebrow. That a compliment or an alien insult? She smiled. It means you don't look at me like a weapon, or a queen, or a threat. He chuckled. You were just the girl who brought me a pizza and ruined my couch. She laughed. Sorry about the couch. Worth it. They stood quietly. Then she asked, if I offered you a place here, not as a guest, but as someone who belongs, would you stay? Ray looked at her. This wasn't Earth. There were no cars, no coffee shops, no bills or neighbors, but there was her, a being who once had nothing, and now carried the future of a lost people in her chest. He didn't need time to think. I already stayed, he said. The night you knocked on my door. Vela took his hand. Her skin was warm, soft, glowing gently in the starlight, and as the Ark moved across the galaxy, carrying its last daughter and her unexpected human guardian, a new kind of story began. Not about rulers, not about wars, but about a girl who was lost, and the boy who chose to make her feel at home.